Hey guys, the other day, or yesterday I should say, we had four 0AD YouTubers in the game lobby at 0AD. It was me, MysticJim, who's 0AD Newbie Rush, Leopard 0AD, whose channel I actually have yet to check out, but he seems to have like a really cool, well put together YouTube channel, and a player named seeh. Oh wow, I opened the wrong game. And a player named seeh, S-E-E-H. So we had 40AD YouTubers in the lobby. I didn't know about seeh's YouTube channel. I asked him like twice, like, tell me what's the link to your YouTube channel, like what's it called, and he wouldn't. I don't know. I guess like he didn't see the messages or whatever or something, but he did not send me a link to his channel. But I'll ask Jim for it. So yeah, we were thinking the four of us could play like a 0AD YouTuber 2 versus 2 game. Me and Jim versus seeh and Leopard. But Leopard had to do something else, so we got Riddler66 instead. So I feel like the game's pretty balanced because I feel like me and Jim are about on the same level and we're kind of mid-level players. And seeh is like a little bit newer. And Riddler66 is more of like a mid to high rated player, from what I understood. So yeah, we thought it would be like a really balanced game to have Riddler in it, and he seemed to really want to be a part of this game. So yeah, I was excited to play on Jim's team because I've only played one game with him before, and it was me against him, which I posted the, did I post? I'm blanking out on whether I ever posted the game between me and Jim, actually. I don't remember if I made a video of that one. But I'm definitely making a video of this one where I was actually playing on Jim's team. So let's see, we are a minute and a half into the game. Me and seeh are leading in terms of population. Riddler and Jim just got housed for like literally a split second each, which means they're really, on point building the houses. And now Jim is actually in the lead in terms of population. Let's see, he decided to gather the trees around the civic center while he gets 6 women to gather berries. Me and him have like a really similar opener. I think he puts everybody to start off on wood, and then he makes 6 women and puts them on berries, which is the same thing I do. And he gets the berry upgrade, which I also do. One difference is he has 2 dedicated house builders, which I try to kind of time it so that every time I need a new house, those 2 builders are kind of like finishing a house. And what you kind of have to do for that is you usually start off with 2, and then you have to slowly add women to that group, women or soldiers, to the house building group as your population gets higher, because you're going to have to start building houses at a faster rate, right? So as you progress through like those first 10 minutes or so, you kind of your building commission is kind of like growing little by little. And if you do that, that's a huge advantage, because 1 or 2 women on a house is a lot more efficient than like 10 people on a house. And right now I have a bad habit of waiting until right before I need to build a house and then getting all of my woodcutters to build a house, or sometimes in fewer cases all of my food gathering women or whatever. I'll pull them all off wood and put them all on building a house, which actually, when you add it up, takes a lot more time than just having like 2 women, 3 women, 4 women, depending on how far you are into the game, just build houses like throughout, and just having those dedicated builders. I kind of do it in phase 2 and phase 3 with the Nova Village mercenary guys, but I'm definitely working on like building up because you can't have too many women on the building commission, but you can't have too few or you'll get housed, So we have Riddler in the northeast. He's team 2. Me and Jim are team 1. So we have team 1 on the west, team 2 in the east. And Riddler is playing as the Gauls, who can be a very fierce civ. I only play as the Kushites, but he is he's a little bit behind me and Jim, and he's tied with seeh right now. I'm surprised because he is a high rated player, but he's probably really good in late game. And, you know, because like me, like my boom is really good. That's like my specialty, you know. I'm not as good with late game and mid game, you know. That's what I'm still developing, you know. But a lot of the higher rated players can get away with like not having like as efficient of a build order, because once it's time to actually like rumble, they're like, you know, they have really good like micro and shit like that, you know. So down in the southeast, we also have seeh playing as the Gauls. So it's a double Gauls team. That's like kind of a cool concept, you know. So he has 9 women gathering berries over here. This is his farmstead. I guess he had extra berries. That's crazy. I don't know if we had extra berries, but yeah, he had extra berries. So he's got his 9 women. He hasn't even had to start farms yet, and we're 5 minutes in. He also has his calf hunting, it looks like, which is dope. And he has everybody concentrated to one wood line, and it looks like he just built another farmstead over here. Is that... They have big farmsteads. I guess everyone has the same size farmstead. I don't know. But, yeah, he's got pretty much everyone in his woodline. He has these people walking really far. Okay, I guess he sent them over to this woodline, but he forgot to build a storehouse. So that's a mistake. Like, they shouldn't be walking that far to deliver wood. They should have their own storehouse. Or they should just be, what I would say is they should be in the woodline with everyone else, because they're unprotected right now. Oh, okay, they're getting berries. Even so, like, that's such a long distance. I would see, like, this is inefficient. Like, I actually had a match, like, earlier today or yesterday when I had like a lot of, I had like a whole group of berries that was like this far outside, of the boundary of the civic center. And I guess you could build houses out towards it, or build a barracks. That'll get you out there real fast, and then build your farmstead. But just have it, even if your farmstead's here, that's inefficient compared to if they were just farming, from my experience. If not, it's like a very close toss-up, and like I would say the wood that it costs to build that extra farmstead kind of swings it, you know, and all the distance they have to walk just to get out to those berries. I think that would swing it in favor of, if you have berries that far out your base, it's usually better to just build the farm, bite the bullet, you know. So we have me down here. I'm building this big house structure over here. It's crazy. Okay, I have a barracks here too. I always try to put the barracks close to the mineral resources, because most of the people coming out of here for the majority of like mid game are going to be soldiers coming out to do your mining, you know. So yeah, I have kind of a dedicated group of house builders. That might be a bit too many, because some of them could be chopping wood, you know, but I guess it's better to have too many than have too few, because you don't want to get housed, you know. Nobody wants that. So yeah, I remember somebody was spectating, and they were like, just delete one of your houses, or it's going to become a maze. And I was like, dude, I don't need to delete one of my house. I wouldn't put a house in a place where I needed to delete that shit, you know. I deleted the farmstead because I wasn't using it anymore. And now this is a storehouse being built for the stone and metal. It's like, I used to never build an extra storehouse because it's like, whatever, they're just walking to the Civ Center, right? But that storehouse, that couple, I guess it would be feet in their perspective, that couple of feet that they need to walk to get to that storehouse, compared to the Civ Center, that you save a lot of time. It's really efficient. In fact, like, usually, like, I don't know, for me, I run a tight kind of like, the way I play, I don't like gather a surplus of wood, you know. I'm always kind of on the edge of like, right, so say I'm queuing from 2 barracks, say I'm queuing 5 archers each from both barracks, or swordsmen. I kind of like, every time those archers come out, it's going to be 500 wood, right? So I kind of play in such a way where like I hit 500 wood within like 5 seconds earlier than they actually have to come out, you know, because if you're building up like a reservoir of wood, that means you have soldiers on wood or women that could be on food. It means you have soldiers on wood that could be on minerals. Only harvest as much of a given resource as you actually need, you know, at least in the early game, this is true. When we talk about getting into late game, it's like you kind of want to build up a big reservoir of food or a big reservoir of wood so that you can reinforce quickly when you're going into battle. But in early game, you kind of want to have that wood keep going down to like below 100, you know, because that means your food's probably in a similar spot, and it means you're fully utilizing the resources that you are bringing in, you know. It's counterintuitive because you would think like, oh, I want to stockpile a lot of resources, right? But chances are in early game to mid game, if you're stockpiling like wood, that means you have people on wood that are just putting extra wood in your bank account, that those people could be on food. Those people could be on metal getting your upgrades. You know what I mean? So, yeah, if your resources are like every like 10 seconds, one of them drops down to like 0, you know, that means you're probably on the right track, as long as they're all kind of like doing that evenly. Okay, so we have Jim up here. He is building this really dope Ptolemy wall of houses around his civ with his dedicated house builders. It's a lot easier to run that dedicated house builder strategy as the Ptolemies because their houses are so much cheaper, you know, so you can build a bunch of them in advance. But yeah, I used to do this. I got this from Alistair. I used to do like a big like circular ring of houses around my civ center. Shout out Alistair Findlay. He's another 0AD YouTuber. But that was back in Alpha 23 when the Ptolemies didn't pay anything for houses, which was, they were so ridiculously OP in Alpha 23 that most people wouldn't even want to play a match if somebody was playing as the Ptolemies. Like, that shit was ridiculous. Now the Iberians are kind of like that, but to a lesser extent because of the walls and the fire cav, you know. But I feel like, you know, like, I think it's stupid to ban Iberians from a match. So we got, but it also makes the game more interesting, you know, because it would be like if you, who would ban the Kushites though, realistically? Like, it's like not a civ worth banning, but they can be good if you know how to use them right, you know. So got his market going up. He's got 2 barracks at this point. All right, back to Riddler. Okay, so I am well in the lead in terms of population, but I am housed at this point. Riddler is coming almost dead last. Seeh is actually last, but that's interesting. I guess he's like a really good player. He just doesn't know how to boom, you know? Maybe I think it's kind of hard to boom with the Gauls. I could be wrong about that, but these storehouses. Yeah, I guess it must be a little harder to boom as the Gauls, but they're a powerful civilization, you know? Are naked fanatics still a thing? I know they got, their speed got majorly nerfed for either Alpha 24 or Alpha 25. They slowed the naked fanatics down. Do you still make them from like a bar or something? Like, I haven't played as the Gauls in so long. Like, don't you train them at like the pub or some shit like that? Oh yeah, those naked fanatics. Shit's hilarious. Alright, so yeah, not much to say about Seeh. He is, he's got a lot of people on wood. Is he floating wood? No, he's not. He's using it all effectively. He's got a lot of people on food too. He's got 12 farms. That's like more of a late game build for me. So he's got his 13th coming up now. For 300 pop, this is good. You know, you want those poppin' farms. But like, I think for this early in the game, it's hard to justify having that many farms. You know what I mean? A lot of he's like, you know, cutting it close when it comes to wood. So a lot of his wood is going towards just like extra farms and shit. When like, let's see, is he floating food? I mean, he's doing pretty good. He's floating a little bit of food, but I don't think he should still be building women at this point. This is like a Zephyr 2 weeks ago move. like building, let's see. Okay, never mind. I have way more than him. He has 73, so he has almost as many women as me, which I usually top off at like 80 women tops nowadays. It's still a lot, but okay, we have a raid. This is me, okay. I sent my cav through his base just to explore, I guess, but I think he might take that out. So I did an expansion, which is crazy. Did I spin the camera? I forget. So yeah, I noticed there was all this metal kind of towards the middle of the map, and I was like, yeah, I gotta go get that. So, Yeah, see, I would normally hesitate to, yeah, I should have built that shit right here, you know? Because if you look at it like we're both on the flank, you know? So like that would be kind of an advancement towards his base, plus I would have been able to get this metal right here. But I am getting this metal. The only thing is if I lose this Civ Center, everything I build around it, I'm also going to lose because it's not anywhere close to being connected. What I should have done, this is something I did in a recent game when I had to build my Civ Center kind of far away because we were playing on like a normal size map. I started building stables inward towards this gap, and it only takes like 2 stables on each side, and you connect your 2 Civ Centers. So you can keep loyalty on all of these buildings if you lose your second Civ Center. Whereas if you don't close this gap, you are going, if you lose this Civ Center, everything you build around here is gone. I'm foreshadowing. So what I am doing is I am grabbing a shit ton of metal. Do I have any upgrades? I don't have any upgrades because I built my forges really late. Normally kind of like about 30 seconds, if I'm playing well and my build order is going like as it should, I have my, I have about 1 forge built by my mercenaries who come out of the Nova village. I already have like 1 forge built in my initial Civ Center territory before I expand. You know, about a minute before expanding, I'm building these forges. So that way, as I'm expanding, I can also start copying the military upgrades. Because if I wait to after I do my expansion and then build the forges, we're 15 minutes in and I don't have any military upgrades yet. I just got the first 2. And I'm trying to research them as fast as I can, but once this expansion is built, that's kind of like you're knocking on the door of your enemy's civ. You know what I mean? It's like, especially if they see you expand, that means they know that you're ready to fight. Which means if you don't have any of your military colony, or your military, if you don't have any of your forges built before your first expansion, you are going to be late to the game in terms of military upgrades. Assuming you even expand, which if you don't have to, if you have enough metal around your base, you don't need to do the expansion because it's a huge waste of time because all of the units who are building your expansion and walking all the way there could be spending that time gathering resources, right? So if you don't have to expand, just stick in your base, you know? Because once you hit phase 3, you can go to phase 3 instead of expanding and get all that extra territory. Phase 3 is like an expansion in and of itself, right? So if you expand, you just have to usually delay getting to phase 3, which is a pain in the ass. Or like wait till after you get to phase 3 and like, you know, get a lot of like reinforcing kind of phase 2 buildings going, like stables and extra barracks and shit like that. Then do an expansion once you like, you know, once you're more prepared to like go into battle. So we have Riddler coming in from the northeast, and he has sent a massive army. He sent 135 mofos and some rams. I only have 89 mofos over here. Riddler has 3 more military upgrades than me. So at this point, I'm asking Jim, get over here right now. Like, I need some major fucking help because shit just popped off, you know, in a scary way. So Jim and I were talking about this. He accidentally sent everybody going in the opposite direction right before they were about to get into the battle. And if you notice, he's got this is almost all skirmishers, so he could have taken them out so quick. But being that he walked away for a little bit, basically like all of these skirmishers, he could have had half of them gone in the time that it took him to get back into the battle. But that was also just enough time for him to take out literally all of my units. Every single one. So that was kind of a crucial moment. But now the hilarious thing is, just as seeh is about to send in a bunch of units to back up Riddler, and they could have easily taken out Jim's shit. Like, just as he's about to join the fight, Riddler quits the fucking game. Hang on, I gave it away. I shouldn't have spoiled it, but Yeah, he quit. He said 2v1, unbalanced, and he quit. Like a little... Never mind, I'm not gonna say it. But, but yeah, he rage quits. And, like, they were about to... He said 2v1. The irony was that it is 2v1. It's him and seeh against Jim at this point, because he already killed my entire army. So it was 2v1, but in the opposite way that he was saying. So he rage quit, and he actually gave us... Now it is 2v1. In like now it's really 2v1, right? Because there's literally only 3 players left. So at this point, where's Jim at? Like, yeah, Jim's like getting more people together. And I am... Luckily, I somehow didn't lose loyalty on these stables. I'm not sure why. Like, I always thought that there has to be a civic center close by to maintain loyalty on a building. Or it has to be garrisoned. Neither is the case in this game. So if anyone wants to explain in the comments to me how these stables maintain their loyalty, is it because of Jim's territory? Is it because they're adjacent to Jim's territory? I think that's probably why, right? Tell me if I'm wrong, because I can't think of any other reason these stables would maintain loyalty without being garrisoned. But they are allowing me to, since I still have my resource gathering units, I still have all of these women on this wood line, and nobody's touched my farms yet, although, how many do I have? I only have 9. I should have like 12 or 13 at this point to back up these cavalry. But yeah, I'm still able to send units into the fight. Even though I've been completely decimated, I don't know how many I had left after that engagement with Riddler. Probably like 90 maybe, 110 at the most. But now Jim has gotten together a second contingent of forces after he kind of lost a few in that battle with Riddler. And I'm basically sending in cavalry, about 8 at a time. And I did stockpile enough resources to get some champion cavalry. And I am still getting wood and food, so I'm able to produce the cavalry at a pretty good rate. I guess I do have my upgrades, even though it says I don't here. Even, you know, it's given me the supposed option to get them or whatever. But yeah, I'm able to send in cavalry kind of little bit at a time and back up Jim's assault on seeh. But yeah, it's going to be really, even on his own, it would be pretty easy for Jim to overtake seeh at this point in the game. Because, you know, he's just ahead of him in terms of military upgrades, in terms of numbers, etc., etc. And, like, unfortunately, because I was incapacitated in that first engagement with Riddler, and he managed to take my Civ Center down, I don't really have the reinforcement infrastructure needed to send more than just a couple groups of cavalry at a time. Now, what I should have done after that Civ Center was knocked down, I should have thought fast, and immediately, this is a sizable group of women, I should have gotten them to start building more stables, start building military buildings so that I could reinforce for more than 4 stables at a time. Because, but if I had done that immediately after he got rid of the Civ Center, I would probably be up to like at least 8 stables by now, if not 10. And at this point I could be reinforcing with literally double the amounts at once. There would be kind of like a bit of a, yeah, because I'm floating so much wood. So all of these woodcutters would have had plenty of time to build those stables, and I still would have had the resources to build a lot of cavalry from those stables, you know? I think the problem was I'm very low on stone. Yeah, I'm very low on stone, and I don't have anybody on the mines because I had already hit 200 pop before the expansion. So this is when I'm bad at 200 pop. I planned it very badly because I should have... yeah, I shouldn't have filled up my population so quickly. You know, I think I might have executed a few women. I shouldn't have built up my population so quickly before, you know, building a lot of macemen and skirmishers and shit like that. I feel like I was going to make a different point, and I'm forgetting what it was, but... but yeah, so me and Jim won. I think it was just a matter of time before, like, once Riddler quit the game, realistically, like, he was the highest level player, and me and Jim were, like, the second and third highest. And, yeah, I think, like, seeh probably kind of, like, realized as soon as Riddler left that, like, the top-rated player in the game is, like, abandoning him, which is really kind of shitty, but, like, Yeah, it just sucks because, well, I mean, it's awesome because me and Jim won. And we definitely wouldn't have, in my opinion, if Riddler had stayed in the game. Because he had already crushed me, and then it was 2v1, him and seeh. Like, seeh hadn't even entered the battle yet, and he was, like, I think around 200 pop, which means that he would have had a huge contingent of forces to bring in to finish those stables off easily, wipe them off the map. And then, you know, it would have been his army and seeh's army, seeh and Riddler both, versus Jim's army, because Riddler already pretty much completely decimated mine, and with those stables gone, I would have no capacity to reinforce at that point. So I would have literally been sent back to the fucking Dark Ages, and yeah, like the game would have been over at that point. Like all they would have had to do with is contend with Jim, and it would have been 2v1 at that point. So Riddler really threw the game for seeh, which is shitty. Because, yeah, I don't know. I feel like me and Jim won, but I feel like it was kind of a hollow victory, you know, because Riddler kind of, who was like the biggest threat, kind of just dipped. So yeah, let's take a look at the stats. Summary. Okay, so yeah, Jim had the highest score by far. But let's look at the timeline because I always find that the most interesting. So yeah, me and Jim, in terms of development, we were well and away far ahead of everybody. Riddler wasn't that far behind us, but right here is that first battle. And at this point, I dipped, it's, you know, between here and here, I guess. I majorly dipped down in terms of population at that point. Riddler overtakes both me and Jim for a moment. And just as he's probably about to overtake Jim, just as they're about to start fighting, honestly, he quits the game, right? So you can kind of see what would have happened. Like, since Riddler had already kind of taken me out, that's this dip right here. That's my major population loss. And seeh wasn't fighting yet, right? Or seeh was about to come into the fight, I should say. Seeh had all those troops coming towards the center of the map. My troops were gone, so it would have been blue and green against red, or sorry, it would have been blue and red against green. And I think you would have seen Jim's population drop off. And yeah, but as it was, Jim's army never had to go against Riddler. So, yeah, it was just, I had time to, like, slowly rebuild, you know, because you can see at the very end I kind of overtake Riddler. And, I overtake seeh. And, Jim had to just do his thing, you know, and, yeah, we were able to take him out, but it was 2v1. The irony of, the irony is just hilarious of Riddler saying, like, oh, it's 2v1 and quitting, and it literally was.
Hey guys, I am about to share a game that I played recently with, Mashina, Blbe, Diogene, and myself. And, this was a very interesting game. For reasons that will be revealed in time. So on the northeast, we have me playing as the Kushites. I sent all of my initial citizens to go gather wood, my priest to go explore, and my cav to gather the chickens, while I train 6 women from the Civic Center who are going to go straight to the berries, or the grapes in this case, and build a farmstead. On my team, interestingly... Oh, no, that's not interesting. On my team in the northwest, we have Diogene playing as the ghouls. And, it looks like they sent their initial 4 women to, the berries, and they sent the other 8 citizens over, or sorry, then they made 4 women, and they sent them over to the trees. They also made an additional calf, and they then made 2 more women, which they sent over to the trees, and now 4 more ladies are coming out also to go hit up those trees. I like the idea of having a second calf to help gather the chickens. There's also a lot of hunt in this map. Goats, camels. So the only thing is they're a bit far from the base, so that's going to be quite a walk. If it were me, I would say build a farmstead right here to about half the distance that those calves have to run in order to grab that hunt. So in the southwest we have Mashina on team 1 in the blue, training women 1 at a time, which is very interesting, from the Civic Center. Sending them to this wood line over here. The wood on this map is very sparse, which is extremely annoying. And they elected to have 6 women on grapes, and they also trained a second calf to go get the chickens now. This is extremely unbalanced. My teammate had no hunt anywhere near his civ center. This guy has 6 goats over here, 5 or 6 goats over here, I should say. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 goats, 12 goats right here. 3 goats over here, just within their border, they have 6 goats. 2 more over here. Ridiculous amounts of hunt. Although, I have similar, but the other teammate has a bunch of goats close by as well. I would have built a second elephant and sent that elephant over to... Built a farmstead by the berries, gotten the berry upgrade to collect those faster, then sent the elephant over to get these goats, and it looks like, wow, Blbe actually didn't make any cav at all, which is ridiculous because he has so much hunt around his base. It's really a waste not to go for cav in that scenario. There's really no downside. We have a barracks going up. Yeah, that's a shame. They should have built some cav. But yeah, as far as hunt goes, it's extremely unbalanced. If you look, almost all the hunt is south of these 2 bases. I had a bunch, but I guess I decided not to utilize them in this game, which I really should have. That's a shame that I didn't utilize all this extra hunt around my base either. But it looks like I've pulled ahead in terms of population. I think I have a really good wood-food balance. I find at the very beginning, for the first few minutes of the game, it's always better to have a little bit more people on wood than you do on food. But right as that transition to farming happens, you should take a lot of those people off wood and send them to farms, because the rate of food coming in when you first start with your farming, if you're out of berries, goes down to about half of what it was previously while those women were collecting berries and the calf was collecting the initial hunt. So you have to, in terms of build order, that transition from berries to farming is like vital, like doing everything properly. I think sending a lot of people to from your wood lines straight over to your farms is a really good strategy when it comes to that, because just sending all the new women to farms won't populate them fast enough. I have some idols over here. That's no good. I'm sure they won't be idle for too long, but still, it's a shame. Going over to Diogene, or sorry, no, going over to, yeah, Diogene, my bad. We have now 4 cav gathering the hunt from the middle of the map. It's a damn shame that these cav have to walk so far. It's really quite a disadvantage, the fact that there were barely any around his base. That's not very fair now, is it? And because of that, he only has women popping out 2 at a time. So, see, there's that farming transition. Like, he has 21 women on 5 farms already, which is, like, he was on top of it. But even with that, you know, his food is not, he's not, you know, he's floating wood. So I would say you should have pulled maybe 5 of them off of the wood line a little bit earlier to populate these farms a little bit faster. Now down here we have Mashina again. Mashina is... his cav are idle here, so that's problematic. And Yeah, he's got these 2 cav collecting the hunt around the base, which is definitely the way to go. But these calves should have been directed towards this hunt over here. He's running, or this sheep down here. I used to think that sheeps and goats were the same thing. I used to think that a goat was a male sheep. Up until, like, total non sequitur, I apologize. But, yeah, I used to think that a goat was the word for a male sheep. But apparently a ram is a male sheep or goat. And a lamb is a baby sheep, right? I get this whole thing confused, guys. Maybe you could enlighten me in the comments. Yeah, let's see, so it looks like Mashina's kind of falling behind while Blbe has pulled into the lead. But really, in terms of Blbe, Diogene, and myself, we're all really close. I'd say we're all managing things pretty well. It looks like I'm floating a bunch of food at this point. So it looks like I might have done my farming transition a bit too fast. I probably put too many women on farms. Yeah, at this point I would say I only need 6 of them, but I have the full 35 on 7 farms, which is crazy. It's a little early for that. And yeah, there I go. I realized I was floating food, so I sent these women over to build a storehouse from the farms. Like, don't be shy about taking people off wood and sending them straight to food, or vice versa. You know, if you see like a discrepancy of more than 500 between your wood and your food this early in the game, there's no point waiting for that next group of women to pop out and hop on the wood line or the farms, respectively, depending on what you're low on. Just don't be shy. Just grab some people and send them from the fields over to a wood line, make a storehouse, you know? Make it happen. Alright, so over here we have this really nice defensive structure of houses being built by Diogene. We still have their cav going out to the middle of the map and hunting. Definitely don't need to be getting these camels yet while we still have all these hunt over here. Yeah, interesting thing about this map is all of this metal in the center. Whoever controls the center of the map on this one is definitely putting themselves in an advantage for the late game, because you need all that extra metal to build champions, to get your upgrades, etc., etc., etc. We have a nice little wall of houses being built. We have, looks like he built out towards a wood line, so that's a really good strategy. He used these two, because wood is very scarce in this map. You have to either do an expansion, which is very expensive, or, you know, earlier in the game, these barracks create so much territory, so it's very easy to, even if a wood line seems very far away, because when you think about it, like, originally his border just looked like this, basically, right? So this wood line seems miles away, but all it really takes is 2 barracks and a storehouse to get over to it and start collecting, because everything else is so sparse. This is really the only wood line close to him that realistically he could have this many people concentrated on. And it's good to have like a good amount of people concentrated. You should diversify a bit, I would say, but it's good to have a lot of people concentrated on one wood line just in case you get attacked, you know? Down here, oh, see, I love these Marian elephants. He's only utilizing one of them. On a map like this, those elephants are so clutch, because since there's just these small little patches of trees around, instead of having to build a storehouse every single time around each one of these patches of trees, you can just get one of these worker elephants to walk right over to the trees and allow your people to drop everything off. It's also really vital for hunt. You can collect hunt from all around your enemy's base and like deprive them of their own hunts if you're skillful with these worker elephants. I used to play as the Marians before I started playing as the Kushites. They were my favorite civ. Before that it was the Ptolemies. I really kind of want to get back into that. Like, I don't know if I should like go back to the Marians or the Ptolemies, or if I should move on to a new civ that I'm not really super experienced with, like the Iberians, maybe. The Iberians are so strong in the late game if you can get to that point, which you usually can because they have walls and shit, so protects from the raiding. So I was a little luckier when it comes to woodlines. I didn't really need to build out with the barracks to do an expansion or anything like that. These women are kind of scattered out, but I kind of see why, because I wanted to, you know, use them to build these houses. So I have moved on to metal. Mashina is actually in the lead in terms of population. It's really interesting what ended up happening with this game. I'm not going to spoil it for you guys, you're going to have to wait and see, but it's pretty ridiculous. Looks like I'm keeping up well with houses. I'm at 25 space ahead for population, and I'm finally building my first Nova village, which I'm going to use to build mercenaries to help me with building. I'm going to use them to build a few forges to start out, and I'm also going to use them to help with my expansion and the stables that I'm eventually going to build around it in order to reinforce. I don't have any of them coming out yet, but let's see, judging by the amount of metal that I've racked up, I should be able to train 5 of them at a time, because they only cost 60 metal each. Such a good deal. Over here we have some defensive structure built out by Diogenes, so he's getting ready to definitely defend this area of the map with this, between this tower and this temple here, which will cast healing vibes over all of his over all of his units. If he had a fight right in this area, he would very much be at the advantage. He is also collecting mineral resources. He is utilizing the stone that he used it for the defense tower, and this temple over here, those both cost a lot of stone. And he is also collecting a lot of metal, which is building up. Let's see, does he have any military upgrades yet? Not as of yet. I don't know if he does have a forge, but he has not invested in any military upgrades yet. Nobody actually has at this point. Okay, so we have okay, I thought this was an attack, but, yeah, these worker elephants are just so fucking clutch when it comes to gathering resources in a map with wood that's scarce. So clutch. So it's cool, we have, a similar strategy by, Mashina, except instead of the worker elephant, he's using storehouses to build out towards this wood line and collect all this extra wood. Is I going clockwise or counterclockwise? Anyway, so now I have both of my initial mines filled up. I have these guys idle. They should, these girls, they should really be doing something. So should these. It's a 250 max pop game, so I could definitely do with building some houses right now. I have one barracks that is sending people out towards these mines, but they just got filled up, so I have 5, 6, 7 idols just chilling by this storehouse. I should have sent them to... Honestly, at this point, I should have... Okay, yeah, I'm doing it. Now that I was getting idols, I decided to pull everybody off of these and send them forward to build an expansion. Meanwhile, I'm building my first forge over here. Mashina has copped one of the military upgrades, the melee attack upgrade. And yeah, I know how important it is to claim this metal in the center of this map, especially for my strategy, because between mercenaries and champion cavalry, having a lot of metal is super important. There have been some kills and some deaths. Oh, okay, there's a fight going on over here. Okay, it's not a fight. It looks like, oh, okay, they're allies, obviously, so they're just kind of gathering wood from around the same spot. Meanwhile, I'm building my first expansion out here. I was careful not to build it too far out from my initial civic center, because if these areas are merged, then, especially if you put a couple buildings in between, then if you lose this civ center, then whatever buildings that you built around it aren't going to lose loyalty, which is extremely important. Okay, so we have some blue troops from Mashina marching out towards the center of the map. Is he also going for an expansion? Let's find out, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, he is. He's building a civic center out in the middle of the map, trying to claim this metal, this metal, this metal, and this metal, which he undoubtedly will. Whereas I have claimed this metal and this metal. So I have not claimed as many resources as Mashina is about to, unfortunately. Let's see, no, that's stone. Yeah, so, but I'd say these metal mines will probably be sufficient. So what I decided to do was, since I was very low on wood, I decided to build a pyramid right by this wood line, so I would be able to quickly collect these resources. And I think I'm going to send a good chunk of these guys back out to, yeah, a lot of them are mercenaries. I'm going to send them back out to build some stables next. In the meantime, I am building a stone tower because I noticed that his border lurched out to meet with my own. So I am trying to control this territory because if I erect this tower here, then I'm actually going to kind of claim this metal. And he still gets this one because of his civic center. But, yeah, I'm going to kind of be able to access this if I need it, whereas he will not because he'll have to be under fire from this tower if he were to do so. Meanwhile, we have, in the red, we have Bible. I'm just going to call him Bible. Blbe, Bible. Still collecting wood out towards the center south of the map. The center south. The south of the map. I guess it is kind of the center south, right? Because it's like close to the middle. So yeah, these guys were able to clear this wood so quickly because this pyramid casts a really large area where just you can gather so many resources in that area. So I'm going to have to build another storehouse soon by one of these wood lines. So I was able to use a lot of that wood that I was able to quickly gather to build all of these stables, which I built 8 of them. So those will be used to, I'm almost up to max pop, but when I hit max pop and go into battle and start losing people, then I'll be able to reinforce with these stables and send cavalry into the battle. As long as I establish, like, good, you know, because I have a lot of farms. I have 10 of them, which is decent. I would go for 12, but for a 250 pop game, I think 10 is probably sufficient. But not really, because it's really about the rate at which you produce units. You know, the rate of food you have coming in affects the rate that you produce units. It doesn't really have any correlation to what the population limit is. Although I guess those extra women on the farms count towards, you know, your population limit. So it looks like my guys came out to this wood line where he was cutting wood.
Yeah, see?
I could have actually probably fought this. I probably could have. He has 61 here. I have 93. So if I had just grabbed everybody and sent them right out there, I could have totally taken these guys out before he would be able to reinforce. He does have more military upgrades than me. I only have 3. So I don't know why I was so stalled in getting the military upgrades, but
Yes.
it looks like Mashina is trying to raid my farms. He is pretty successful at that so far. That could be a cool YouTube thumbnail. So I sent my mineral miners to go attack the cabin, not before he was able to get a good amount of kills in. It's not the worst thing because that will free up space in my population to build more infantry. But at the same time, it's good to have at least 10 farms full of women so that you can reinforce at a fast enough clip. So I am now building my fortress over here. I was discussing with Diogene that we could attack green first. I think it might have been a smarter idea to try to attack red first, though, because green is a lot more fortified. Red is not very fortified. He's building a fortress right here, and he is building a bunch of stables right here. But, yeah, if I had just gone for this fight, I could have taken out all of these guys, and, then as he, you know, sent the rest of his guys forward, I could have taken them out, too, if I had just gone for that, but yeah, I did not. We decided that we would go for blue first, because I had kind of built out towards him. Honestly, if the fort is over there, though, then that kind of, like, protects this area, and it lets you kind of attack on the other flank, so could have kind of gone either way. But yeah, I'm really building up this side. It is good to have the fort where you're fighting, though. So I'm building up a temple here, so that means I could, if I needed to, I could garrison 60 units inside of here. 20 of them would be shooting arrows, 65 with the defense tower. So that could be very good. Plus, blue had built out, so I figured we would take his base. Okay, so it looks like, yeah, this was a little bit annoying. I asked Diogene, I was telling Diogene, hey, I'm ready to attack blue soon. Let me know when you're ready. And he just went ahead and attacked blue, and he never messaged me. So I didn't know to come kind of reinforce him. Luckily, blue didn't have a lot of troops there, so he was able to take down that civic center pretty easily, thankfully. But, yeah, he could have definitely let me know, and we could have gone at the same time. But it looks like I am getting everybody ready and sending them over. And this is awesome. Diogene is building up another civ center. And I mean, I would have just taken this one, because this is costing him so many resources, right? And it's not like he has tons to spare. I'm extremely low on wood in the meantime. It looks like, okay, so I'm building another storehouse over here to collect this wood, so that should hold me over for a while I go into battle. So myself and Diogene are pushing in on Mashina. Mashina is at full pop, and he has 9 military upgrades. Whereas Diogene only has 4 military upgrades, which is very iffy. But being that both myself and Diogene are going in together at the same time to attack, what's his name? To attack, Mashina? And it looks like there's no sign of Bible coming to the rescue. It looks like it's going to go pretty well. So what I did was I took this building down, this market, to make him lose loyalty on all of these units, and then I killed my entire army. So, that was the thing that I was going to mention in this game that happened, that I was saving for you guys. So yeah, we very much had Team 1 on the back foot. We were incursioning. What is the word for that? We were moving in on Mashina's base, and we definitely had the numbers at the time. And the big battle was about to start, and then I deleted all of my units, and I guess Diogene has some units just standing in awe back here at my complete and total idiocy. But his army has been pretty fucking decimated. So, fun times. Diogenes' attack has been completely thwarted because Bible made his way over. And look at all of these ranged units. This is, yeah, he only has, he does have 19 pikemen, but so much of his army is ranged units that we definitely could have taken a bunch of them out if both of our armies had attacked at the same time before Bible could even get there. But now Bible is also tons of ranged units. You need infantry to back this up, you know? So I'm taking the small amount of archers that I had left over there. I left these on wood because I was running low on wood, you know, and I needed to reinforce. Well, no, I wasn't, so I could have thrown these guys into the fight, but you need to keep some people on wood, you know? But yeah, I mean, like, if I had had my army, like, we probably would have won that battle and then come over to defend this. But as it was, he's just fucking my shit up. We did do a really good job taking out these archers. It was cool that he was able to quickly come reinforce. But yeah, as you can see, Bible's at 230, Mashina's at 250, I'm all the way down at 112, and Diogenes at 182. It's 2v1 at this point, basically, because I have some wood gatherers, and I have some, I have a lot of farmers, but he took out the majority of my stables. I only have 3 left, so I have 3 stables, a barracks, and a village to produce from. No metal left, so I can't utilize the village. So yeah, it's basically 2v1 at this point, and I pretty much resigned soon after this. Because I realized there was pretty much no coming back from this at this point, so very fun times. I really love it when my entire army just dies on a whim. I had been up all night recording videos before this game, so like I was a little lacking in the sleep department. And there I go. And I'm just going to go to the summary from here because obviously when it's 2v1 the writing is on the wall. But you can see right until my troops died, I was, me, red, and blue were pretty much all tied. Green was my teammate, so he wasn't doing quite as well as me, as the rest of us, but I think between the two of us, we would have had a really good shot, especially because we kind of got the jump on Mashina before Bible could really get his forces over to help back us up. So being that we had them on the back foot and we had the jump on them, I think that game really could have gone either way. But very unfortunately, because of the sad reality of me functioning on no sleep, we completely threw it.